Ashcroft sits where mountains swallow sound, high in thin air. What's left isn't a town, it's a memory framed in wood and cold light. Up here, even breathing feels like a footstep. The entrance doesn't feel like arrival at all. It feels like stepping out of time, into a place that stopped answering back years ago. The road behind you already feels far away. A front wall can pretend for a while, almost convincingly, but without people, a building becomes a mask, held up by nails, weather, and habit. It survives on structure, not on spirit. In places like this, your footsteps sound wrong, too sharp, too alive. The silence doesn't answer. It just listens, patiently, from every corner, and the echo follows you, uncomfortably close. Light still enters like it owns the place, even now. But it doesn't warm anything, just reveals how empty the air has become inside. It shows you absence, in perfect detail. Nature doesn't need force or rage. It just waits, rust by rust, root by root, until human plans become compost for the mountains. No mercy, just seasons doing their work. This used to be a place you'd walk through with purpose and noise. Now, it's a street of outlines, leading only deeper into silence. Purpose drained out, leaving only distance. You can watch time here if you stay still. It travels across boards and beams like water, sanding the story down to its last shape. Nothing fights it. Everything yields, slowly. Even the directions have given up along this trail. What used to guide people here now just fades, like the town itself, softly erased. The valley keeps the secret, anyway. When the roof disappears, the building stops being shelter. The sky moves in, and the room becomes part of the weather. Every day, you can feel the sky lowering into it. Life didn't leave this place completely. It just changed owners. Now the only daily routine is written in tracks across snow. The animals pass, and the town stays still. After sunset, Ashcroft becomes pure outline and shadow. A town reduced to shape, and the feeling that something is still watching you. Night turns the ruins into silhouettes and doubts. This was a silver town, built on hunger for more, faster. The tools remain, but the promises that brought people here are gone. Greed built fast. The mountain kept slow. A doorway is supposed to separate safety from the world. Here, it's just a frame, letting the wilderness walk straight in, uninvited. Every threshold is open, and that's the point. The wind doesn't just pass through these rooms. It edits the place, rewriting every corner with cold air, quiet, and drifting dust. It rewrites again tomorrow, and tomorrow. You can still see where people tried to build a future, but the foundations hold nothing now, only the shape of ambition in stone. Ambition is visible, like a footprint in stone. The trees stayed, and the seasons kept returning. The people didn't. Somehow the forest makes the emptiness feel even more personal. The hush between trunks feels like a confession. This beam still stands, like it's remembering its job, stubbornly, holding up nothing, because habit can outlive purpose for a long time. It holds the past, one splinter at a time. Some rooms were built for laughter and arguments, for music. Now they're built for echoes, long, lonely, and unanswered, lingering. Echoes are the only crowd left here. Snow doesn't just cover things, it simplifies them. It turns history into one clean surface, hiding every scar underneath the white. And the white cover makes forgetting easy. The creek kept moving through every boom and collapse. Nature doesn't mourn, it just continues, cold and steady, past our stories. The water refuses to be impressed. The window is gone, but the sky still shows up, broken into pieces, like the life that used to look out from here. Even broken, the view keeps returning. You follow the path out of habit, because paths mean destination. Here, it only leads you deeper into what's missing, step by step. You walk, and the missing grows larger. Ashcroft doesn't announce itself with signs or crowds. It whispers, soft enough that you lean in and realize quiet is the story. The quiet lands on you, gently, then stays. These nails are still doing their work, holding pieces together. They outlast the hands that place them, year after year, unseen. Rust stains are the signatures of gone labor. You can feel the mountains pressing in, not threatening, just inevitable. Like the land is calmly reclaiming its space, without hurry. Scale is the lesson, the town is the note. When names fade, places lose their labels, but not their weight. You don't need words to know what happened here, and why. Meaning remains, even when language falls off. A porch is where people used to pause, talk, watch, wait. Now it slowly sinks into the ground, like it's choosing to leave too. Gravity takes its time and never stops. Stairs are made for going somewhere, for daily movement. Here, they climb into air, like the future was built, then canceled mid-step. Upward movement ends, but the fall continues. The wind finds anything that can move. It turns old metal into a quiet instrument, one note, over and over, until you notice. That tiny sound becomes a whole soundtrack. A stove is supposed to mean warmth and survival, a heartbeat. Here it's just iron and silence. Proof winter always wins eventually. Cold wins without drama, just patience. Sometimes the light returns like a spotlight, just long enough to remind you what stood here before the sky closes again, quietly. Then darkness resumes its long possession. These walls don't block the outside anymore. They breathe, letting mountain air pass through like the building is exhaling slowly. The outside is inside, and nothing separates them. A table is a simple promise. Someone will return. In Ashcroft, the promise was made, and then never kept, not once again. Waiting becomes permanent, like dust on wood. Here, you can hear yourself existing. Every step feels too loud, like the town is measuring how alive you are, and judging. Your own heartbeat feels like noise. The window used to frame a life outside. Now it frames the truth. The mountains were always the final owners, from the start. The peaks don't move, and that's the verdict. Every collapse leaves a small graveyard. Boards and beams laid down like bones. Returned to the ground, surrendered to weather. Each piece lies down, and doesn't get up. When frost forms inside, you know the building has surrendered. The cold is no longer outside. It lives here, permanent, settled. Inside and outside become the same temperature. A single nail can outlast a whole town. It stays put, while everything else turns into dust and drift, and disappears quietly. Stillness is the only thing that lasts. The valley feels like it's holding its breath, as if the land is waiting for you to leave so it can be alone again. As if solitude is the land's natural state. There were once names, notices, faces, posted with purpose. Now only scraps remain, like the town is trying to forget its people. History flakes off, like old paint. The floor still remembers what it carried. Boots, furniture, whole lives. Now it only holds air and a thin layer of dust. It remembers weight, even after weight is gone. An empty frame is louder than a photograph. It tells you someone belonged here and then vanished, leaving only outline. Absence hangs there, perfectly framed. You walk a few steps and feel it. The place isn't empty like a room. It's empty like a question, hanging open. And your mind keeps trying to answer. An empty clothesline is a small tragedy. It's proof of ordinary life, lifted away, leaving only the shape of routine behind. Domestic life fades, but its outline lingers. These steps were built for arrivals and departures. Now they end early, like the town ran out of reasons to keep going. Arrival was possible. Staying was not. At a certain distance, an empty window stops being a hole. It becomes an eye, and you start lowering your voice, instinctively. You feel watched by nothing and everything. Ashcroft doesn't scare you with noise or suddenness. It warns you with quiet, inviting you in, then reminding you how small. Smallness becomes real in your bones. The walls keep their own records, not dates, just weather. Storms, winters, and the slow handwriting of time, etched in stain. Stains are calendars, written in rain. Small objects survive in stubborn ways. A bottle, a shard, a hinge, tiny proofs that someone once tried to live here. The smallest debris carries the biggest proof. This bench was made for watching the valley, waiting for someone to come home. Now it watches nothing, and no one returns. The seat is empty, but the view continues. There's a kind of quiet that isn't peaceful. It's heavy, like the air is holding on to everything that happened and won't release. Quiet can be a pressure, not peace. A door used to mean inside, safety, belonging. Now it's just another plank on the ground, privacy flattened into landscape. What was private becomes public to weather. The roofline looks like broken teeth, still biting at the sky, still trying to hold shape as it falls apart, piece by piece. Even the sky looks sharper, through ruins. When snow collects indoors, it feels unreal, like winter is moving furniture around, rearranging a room no one owns anymore. The house fills with season, not people. Eventually, a town becomes architecture without purpose, just frames. The mountains keep the rest, and the silence keeps score. Frames remain, like punctuation without sentences. Fences are human math, straight lines drawn across wild land. Here, even the lines are giving up, bending toward earth. Human geometry bends under mountain time. A chimney is supposed to speak in smoke and heat. This one stays silent, like a throat that forgot the sound of fire. Silence rises where smoke used to climb. Water writes its own letters on the walls, slow ink that never dries. That's how the mountains send messages, quietly. Drips speak softly, but they never stop. In silence this deep, your mind starts inventing sounds, because emptiness feels safer when it has an explanation, any explanation. Your imagination fills gaps, like snow fills cracks. Morning arrives without permission, as always. Frost settles where people once stood, quietly claiming the same steps again and again. Morning repeats itself, regardless of memory. Cobwebs are the new curtains. They don't hide a home. They announce it's been closed for a long time, sealed by years. The web says, no one comes back. The light here isn't warm. It's blue and thin. It feels like the mountains are shining through the room, turning shelter into weather. Blue light feels clinical, almost unforgiving. A living town pushes back. Repairs, noise, lights, voices. Ashcroft doesn't. It lets time do whatever it wants, without complaint. Time is the loudest resident here. Some objects were made to call people together. Now they hang in place, waiting for a sound that will never come again. The object waits, and waiting becomes its purpose. The boundary between outside and inside is just a line of snow, and even that line keeps moving, inch by inch. Every gust redraws the border, slightly. It still swings, like it remembers laughter from long ago. But there's no porch, no home, just motion repeating in the wind. Movement survives, even after meaning is gone. Ashcroft is what happens when ambition meets altitude. In the end, the mountains don't argue. They just outlast, quietly winning. Endurance is the mountain's only argument. You can almost imagine voices learning the shape of words. But the lesson ended, and the room kept the silence, faithfully. Education once lived here, briefly, then ended. Even when someone passes through, the place doesn't feel visited. It feels temporarily disturbed, then quickly forgotten again by weather. The place resets itself, as if you weren't here. This pipe once carried heat and smoke away. Now it carries nothing, just cold air dropping back into the room, like a sigh. Cold returns through the pipe like a ghost. It can feel like a set, facades waiting for actors. But nothing performs here anymore, except time and the wind. The set stays empty, but the play continues. The mountain doesn't feel like scenery. It feels like a presence, filling the window the way a person used to, every day. The view feels personal, like it knows you. Decay isn't dramatic up close. It's delicate. Splinters, cracks, and tiny fractures that add up to collapse. Slowly and surely, tiny damage accumulates until structure becomes memory. A doorframe is a measurement of life. Who passes through, who returns. Here, it measures only wind and empty air. The doorway counts departures, not arrivals. If this place has a pulse, it's water. The creek keeps time, steady, indifferent, alive, counting seasons without us. Water keeps rhythm when humans stop. There are corners here where light stops trying. It enters, then retreats, like it knows it can't save anything. Not now. The dark wins, 1 inch at a time. A mirror used to return a face, a moment. Now it returns the sky. Like even reflections have moved on, leaving nothing. Reflection is replaced by sky and dust. One creak can feel like a whole sentence. In a quiet town, every sound becomes meaning, and you listen harder. In this hush, a creak is a voice. Ashcroft isn't just abandoned, it's instructional, showing what happens when human ambition forgets who truly owns the land, forever. It teaches humility without saying a word. In this cold air, even dust looks sharp, like time itself turned into glitter, suspended and unmoving in the beam. The beam turns particles into slow, visible time. A keyhole is a promise of entry, but the key is gone, and the idea of inside went with it long ago. Locks remain, but belonging does not. Ashcroft feels like it's built from echo, doorways and windows repeating, as if the town is trying to remember itself, softly. Repetition becomes prayer, or maybe warning. For a moment, the town looks almost alive, until the light moves on, and the cold truth returns, without mercy. Warmth visits briefly, then leaves you colder. Sometimes the quiet gets so complete you start hearing it, like pressure around your ears, like a warning, like a presence. You listen harder, and hear even less. What remains is a skeleton, enough to prove the shape of a life, not enough to bring it back, ever. Bones are honest, they don't pretend. Nature doesn't celebrate victory, it just keeps growing, quietly turning ruins into soil and stories into ground, one season at a time. Growth is quiet, and that's why it wins. Ashcroft doesn't feel finished, it feels paused, like the mountains kept the town here to remind us what time can do. Paused doesn't mean safe, it means unfinished. Even if you forget every detail, one name stays: Ashcroft. A place the mountains kept after everything else moved on and fell silent. The name is a hook in your mind. You don't leave with souvenirs or trophies. You leave with a feeling, like time touched your shoulder and the mountains watched you go. And when you look back, it feels older.